introduce the most eminent personality, the man with over 18 years of industry experience in service-centric information technology. He is none other than the head of the development team at Aviva India, Mr. Y.V. Head Subramanya Sastry.
It's a bit unfair to make me sit amongst such luminaries and overwhelm me with your enthusiasm and then expect me to talk before you. It's a bit difficult, but still I'll give it a try. It's kind of a coincidence. Just 1 month back, until 24th of December, I was experiencing another university. I was at Cambridge, and it was a really interesting experience I went through. Now I come here, I experience a completely different kind of experience, but fundamentally both are universities. Now the reason I went to Cambridge is, it's an interesting story. I joined this company called Aviva Solutions India, which actually was born in the university. In the Cambridge University, there was a research activity which led to creation of a product, rather, I would say an output of a research which had the capability of becoming a product, and then it was spawned into an enterprise that went on acquiring multiple companies, and it has grown into what it is today. So why am I sharing this with you? As I said, universities are an interesting phenomenon. It's not just a place of education, but even things like research, they are the incubating grounds for research. Today morning I was overhearing a couple of the celebrated academicians discuss about the research and analysis. Honestly, I think we are lagging behind. I don't think we can blame any one single person. I think today India invests around 0.8% of the GDP, whereas the expectation is 2.4% of the GDP in research. But with the leadership we have, like Sri Narendra Modi, and these themes like Make in India, I'm pretty sure we're going to move forward with that. Again, I briefly want to touch upon this concept of Make in India. As Sir highlighted, Make in India and Made in India are different. Perhaps I can share with you one instance or one incident that happened with me which can help you to understand. Couple of years back, I was interacting with a very senior executive of a global multinational, whose revenues are $13 billion. We had a brief philosophical disagreement on a topic of India. Why India? He asked me a question straight, Shastri, why do you think we are coming to India? By we, he meant senior executives of global MNCs and also those who are not from India. I gave him a wrong answer, but I thought it was a right answer until that time. I told him it is because of cost. You get cost-effective workforce in India, because of which you are coming to India. He really put me to shame by telling me the reason. He told me, no Shastri, that's not the primary reason we come to India. It is the availability of skills, diverse set of skills. I really did not believe it at the outset, but within no time, as I progressed in my career, it was becoming evident day by day that the sheer possibilities that are possible in India. It's amazing. To give you a tangible figure, what could be accomplished. In one particular engagement, my cost of operations with a global team was around $61 million. This was in fiscal 13. Then we focused heavily on India. Within 1 year, our budget submission came down to $31 million. 50% decline within one fiscal. It's amazing, and India is responsible for that. I think I do have some numbers, but I don't think we do have the time for that. But I strongly encourage you to visit the Fortune online magazine, there is a very interesting article whose title is "What's Stopping India from Becoming a Superpower?" Trust me, it's a very, very interesting article written by chairman of PricewaterhouseCoopers with data from, the 2015 Global CEO Survey. Please do read it, then you'll understand, where we are, what we need to focus upon. So these are the few thoughts I thought, I had to share with you. Thank you all for this opportunity, and Shajuddin, you really chased me. I didn't know, but I think I'm really happy coming here.